Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 62 of the NordCast. It is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. I am your host, Nordic97, who is back from an episode-long hiatus. Joined here with my co-host, who took over and did a great job in the last episode. Carter, how we doing?
We're doing pretty good. Could be better. As I said in the last one, could be better, could be worse. But we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Yeah, and no Jack here today. The price of me coming back is Jack leaving. To be honest,
Can't get rid of me.
Can't get rid of Carter. Carter's always here with me. But yeah, so last episode, the guys did a free agency review. I could not join them for it, because obviously I was away for the 4th of July weekend. But honestly, apart from Carter saying that Elias Lindholm has the edge in him, and Jack's computer issues, and them not knowing what the episode was at the beginning, I would say they did a very good job at, talking about all the free agency stuff.
Okay, you didn't have to include that in the opening.
I thought it'd be funny. Nice humor.
That made me feel so unprofessional. I completely forgot that I pressed record and we didn't know what episode it was. I thought it was oh my, when you started off with that, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, he sent me a video in our group chat and he was cursing at me. So yeah.
Oh, it was such a bitch move, bro.
I didn't listen to it. I definitely didn't listen to it before I started.
Yeah, bullshit.
But I give props to y'all. Y'all did a good job in that episode. You made it a good hour and a half too, which has proven very hard for two people to do. So regardless, this episode probably won't be an hour long. Now that I say that, it's going to be an hour and a half. But I do have some free agency questions here for Carter. So they reviewed free agency in the last episode, tier ranked signings, talked about trades, all that good stuff. So Carter, I'm going to start off with this question for you, and we'll discuss both of us. Who do you think? I'll give you. Who do you think are the biggest winners of this year's free agency, in your opinion?
So I feel like it's got to be. I think a team that made the most moves is you got to look at Nashville. I think they're the team that went out. They spent. They probably didn't spend the most money, but they signed the most big name guys that were out there. I think you look at Steven Stamkos getting a point per game guy at $8 million, even though yes he is aging. I think no matter what, even if you get this guy and he's still putting up 30 goals and 60, 70 points, you're still going to look at this at $8 million and be like, yeah, that's a great contract. Now, Jonathan Marchessault, that's also a great deal for them as well. I know we already kind of touched base on it last episode, but for those who didn't listen to it, $5 million, he's a Conn Smythe winner from 2 years ago. If this guy gets rolling, there's no stopping him. I hated him in Vegas, and I probably will still hate him because he's in Nashville now, a Central Division rivalry. But
now he's just a rival too.
Yeah, so but I will say I do respect Jonathan Marchessault. I think he's a great player. It pains me that he's always on the teams that I don't like, because I do really want to like this guy. I love Jonathan Marchessault. He's a great player. And getting him at $5 million, he's a 60 point guy, and he's gonna put up and for only 5.5. That's a steal of a deal. And then Brady Shea, they needed help on that back end to try and take a little bit of the pressure off of Roman Josi, because till now he's kind of been almost carrying that back end. I think they have Luke Shen as well, he's still a great defenseman, but he's no Brady Shea. And that's they're my biggest winner by far. I think an underrated team is probably going to end up being Florida. I think they kept the right pieces, and we talked about that Brandon Montour deal on that one, and I really think that was a steal of a signing.
So I would say I like what Nashville did. I think that when you look in the long term, it's going to hurt them in the last couple of years of those contracts, which that's usually how it goes for a lot of those a lot of those teams. You said Seattle, I believe, right? Because you brought up the Montour thing. I thought Seattle was a tale of a good signing and a tale of a horrible signing, because I thought the Montour signing was really good. I think that Montour's a solid defenseman. He's very serviceable, and that he was great for Florida when they won the Cup. And I think you even mentioned this in the episode. You said that Seattle doesn't have really any star-studded defensemen. Like Vince Dunn's their best defenseman, and he's a good defenseman, but he is no Brandon Montour. So that bolsters the blue line. But the Chandler Stephenson signing is just so weird to me. Like Stephenson was like a consistent. He was an okay second line center, and I think you're paying him what? They're paying him 6.5. I don't know. I think that deal could age like milk, to be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of that one. But I do think Seattle probably still does come out winners. There are some people who are really against the Seattle deal. Carter, any other winners in mind?
I'm trying to think. Like, there's not really a team in my head that really sticks out other than Nashville. As far as free agency goes, because I'm trying to remember. Man, let me quick. If you want, you can keep talking. I'm gonna quickly pull up the list that you sent.
Oh my goodness! I just opened up Cat Friendly and it gave me the thank you message of it ending.
Yeah,
oh,
that's sad. We'll have to touch base on that. But
yeah,
I mean,
gotta go to Puckpedia.
Honestly. No, I wouldn't say Chicago. Chicago overpaid on a lot of guys, kind of.
Well, they did, but at the same time, does it really matter that they did?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. But if you're looking at like winners and everything, like you want to find teams that are like signing guys to like those like nice contracts. But I will say they are getting some good guys in the locker room there in Chicago. So I'll throw Chicago up in there as well.
No, I wouldn't call them a huge winner, but I would say they probably could flip some of those guys in future seasons, and I mean they need guys to help the dart out. So
for sure.
How about
Boston made a few good moves.
I like the Lindholm signing. The Zadorov one I felt like was a little bit of an overpay, but it's still a good contract. It makes that Bruins blue line just terrific, and it's been like that for years too. I'm looking at my. How about the they just slipped from my head. How about the Vancouver Canucks? Signed DeBrusk. I think they signed a few other guys too. Let me go look at the list here. I know they signed DeBrusk to a contract. They signed. Yeah, I think that's about it for the big name guys. Trying to think who else. San Jose made some solid moves. I think Toffoli bringing him in was good. Yeah. Carter, who would you say are losers of this free agency?
Oh, fuck.
Detroit, the team that I'm wearing right now, Detroit, I think is losers. But at the same time, I do think that they made some okay moves. But like, and this is gonna be a question that I ask later. But Cam Talbot, like you think, and Jack Campbell. Like, is that going to fix your goalie problem? Like, I know Campbell's probably going to be an AHL goalie, but Talbot, he's 37. Like, I don't know how that solves the problem.
He's gonna reprise that backup role, I'd assume, hey, because they still have Nedeljkovic or Husso.
No, they have Husso.
Yeah, because Nedeljkovic, he's with Pittsburgh. Sorry, it's the other way around. I was thinking of it the other way around, that he was.
They also have
Pittsburgh.
Alex Lyon as well.
Yeah, like they have goalies. I don't know why they do, like the Jack Campbell one makes sense because like you throw him in the AHL, like he plays really good. Like Jack Campbell, he's proven he could play at the NHL level. I just don't know what happened with him in Edmonton. He like completely lost everything. But I will say that you're playing.
Mentor Costa. That's the biggest thing. Mentor Costa and Augustine.
Yeah,
the two goalie prospects down there.
I don't know. The Talbot one doesn't make sense to me. The Campbell one I like because you either get a really solid backup out of him for very cheap, or you get even a starter out of him, or he just plays in the AHL and you don't really have to notice.
Yeah. I think the Campbell one is good. I think the Campbell one is definitely a benefit. He can mentor the young guys down there. The Talbot one, like it like I feel like you look at their goalie situation. They have Lyon, they have Husso, they have Talbot, they have the other guys down below. They're gonna have to trade one of them. That's what I'm seeing. Like that, you can't keep all 5 or 6 of those goalies. You just can't. So they're one of them's going out the door at some point. I don't know if they go to another team or they get like bought out or something like that. But honestly, I don't think that they would keep all those goalies in that situation. Carter, how about the Flyers? Are they losers, or what are you thinking here? Because they didn't really do much. To be honest.
None of so pretty much like any team. There's a lot of teams that really didn't do much in free agency. It looks like usually a team goes out and you'll hear about, oh, they made an offer. Well, I feel like every team makes an offer to some players, but like at the same time, like, you'll hear about it, and like every team takes a run at a free agent, and like there's at least one big or decent signing for them. But like there was a lot of teams that were just, it was crickets. Like Philly was one; they just re-signed a lot of guys. The Jets didn't sign anyone too particular. Anaheim signed pretty much like no one, I believe. Like even in their re-sign phase, I think they signed no one. Like there's so many teams that like didn't do much, and the Flyers were one of them. So they really just re-signed a bunch of guys. Now I would call them winners mainly because we just got Michkov. He signed. Yeah. He's not a free agent, but like you get my point. It was in that time frame. I'm happy.
Michkov jersey's coming, by the way.
Did you order it already?
I'm gonna buy one very soon. I'm just waiting for my next paycheck to roll in.
I gotta buy a jersey, and then I'm gonna see if I can get. I'm gonna try and throw Michkov on it.
I'm gonna buy like a shirt or something and just wear a Michkov shirt around. Or there's pucks too. Like it's funny because as soon as like Michkov announced that he was coming over, the Flyers put something like Michkov merch available now at Wells Fargo store. Like it's just they were promoting the hell out of it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that they're losers. I wouldn't say that they're like huge winners either because they really didn't. They were conservative. I think they signed only like one new player. The rest were just re-signs. So nothing really too big there. I'm trying to think. Actually, Carter, Washington Capitals. I think not losers. I think they should be in the winner column because I think the Chychrun trade was great. I think that the other signings they made, I can't even remember what else they did. I gotta get used to using Puckpedia here, but they made a few trades, a few signings, but they brought in Jacob Chychrun, and I think that is a terrific deal there from Ottawa. So I love the Chychrun deal for sure. Look at some other ones here. Carter, I do have a question for you.
Stop.
The Winnipeg Jets, Rutger and McGroarty, Nikolaj Ehlers still in town. What are they going to move them? Or are they staying next year? Or what's happening here, Carter? Do you know?
I don't. Oh my god. I don't think. I'm. Oh my god. I don't even have words right now. I really hope that. If I. Yeah. I don't have words. Like. I as much as I want to say, like, I got words for you, I don't. I really don't. I want Rutger to stay so bad, but I just don't know if it's, like, because we're a Canadian team. I don't know if it's because of, like, because the media he can say whatever he wants, but no one's going to know how he actually truly feels. Like, he can say, oh, it's ownership, or, oh, I don't like how they treated me, but, like, it could just be he doesn't want to play in a Canadian market. Like, this guy seems like he bleeds red, white, and blue. Like, I don't know. Maybe he just wants to play for an American market, and that's just how it's going to be. I hate that it got out because now Jets have no leverage because every team knows that he wants out. The only leverage they have is they're like, well, these guys are offering me this. What can you do, right? So I really hope that we can get to see Rutger McGroarty. I've already forgotten how to pronounce his name because I'm this bummed out about it. But he was going to be our future captain, though. Like, I'm not even going to lie. He was definitely going to be our future captain. There is nothing you could say to try and fool me into thinking that in 6 years' time, probably less than that Rutger McGroarty was not going to be the Winnipeg Jets captain. I think he would have been unreal at it. But now we got to get rid of him, and it sucks. I really hope that we can salvage this because I would hate to see him go. I want to keep him so bad. But it's okay. It's hockey. It's a business. But I hate. Oh my god! It's the Cutter 2.0, man. Every college players have especially these U.S. ones. College players have so much like leverage, and it's crazy.
It's not even leverage. It's just that they have they have such an attitude in their head. They're like, I want to play in the top six. I want to be on this team now.
Yeah.
I want my spot. I don't want to have to earn it. Like that's the way I see it. So before you keep going, I found a quote from Sports Talk Winnipeg where Mike McIntyre reported new developments regarding Rutger McGroarty. He said not only do the Winnipeg Jets appear to be frustrated with the situation, now even trade talks have led to extreme frustration by other teams who might be interested in him. McIntyre said other teams are now hearing the same thing that the Jets are hearing about playing time assurances. He added there may have been a trade that was close to happening last week, but fell apart because the other team didn't like what they were hearing from the McGroarty camp. He believes that the general consensus is that there's a sense of entitlement with McGroarty and wonders if he is getting some bad advice. He wondered whether it gets to a point where things might change and the McGroarty camp reevaluates things. So shout out to Riley Denault for giving me that quote. He's a big podcast fan. But Carter, what do you think after hearing that? Not only are the Jets frustrated, but teams that are trying to trade for him are frustrated?
So,
Wild.
Yeah. Also, glad you shouted out the Winnipeg Jets Sports Talk Radio. Love that podcast. Love it. All things Winnipeg sports. I don't know. It's a great podcast. You're from Winnipeg, give it a listen. I doubt anyone listens to this, but whatever. Exactly. Yeah, hearing about that kind of makes me feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that it's not just like a Winnipeg thing. Because you're gonna get passion if you come here, and I feel like that's what a lot of players want. Is they want someone who's gonna be passionate. They want fans who are gonna be passionate, and that's what we are. And hearing that it's him and his camp, like that kind of makes me feel a little better. But it's gonna have to come down to like, because you can. Oh my god! Like this could actually ruin his career. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like because it
absolutely could. You're right.
If it gives this bad of a taste in some players in some teams' mouths, like you're not getting a job. Like you can have your 3 years and you can go straight into free agency all you want, but you're not gonna get the money you want. You're not gonna get the contract you want. Like you're sure as hell maybe not getting the teams that you want because they're like, oh, we heard about this. We heard he's got this entitlement thing to him. Like, yeah, sure, you're the first line at Michigan. You played first line for Team USA. Like, you captained them. Sure, you have all the right to have this. But you don't do this as a rookie. You don't do this as a 20-year-old going into the NHL. This is the best of the best. Like, there's 30-year-olds who are probably better than you. There's 35-year-olds who are probably better than you, who will put up more points than you. You don't get to beg. You do not get to say, I demand first line minutes. I will play 30 minutes a night. No ifs, ands, or buts. You don't do that. You're a 20-year-old going into the NHL. This has been your dream since you were a kid, and you're going to throw it out the window because you don't like sacrificing 2 minutes of ice time.
You know what I think is probably going to happen? What might happen, not what is probably going to happen. I think McGroarty's going to stay with the Jets.
He should. I think he will.
Hearing this and reading it out loud and hearing your thoughts, there is like it's like the Cutter situation, but at the same time it's not, because first off, it's not a Winnipeg thing. Like you've seen before that people don't want to come to Winnipeg, like players don't want to come to Winnipeg because of certain reasons. Not going to get into them here because it's not relevant.
Yeah, I'm going to rant if you do.
Yeah, I don't want Carter going off because it's happened many times before, but this isn't that. This is McGroarty and his camp. Maybe not McGroarty himself, but his agent and his camp being cocky, being entitled, thinking they should get something right now. It's kind of weird because like it reminds me a little bit like you go into a job and you go into like a job interview and you're like, I want the manager position right away. I want a like a 5-year pension or something like that. Like I want these benefits now, not 6 months down the road now. And I think that's like what this is. It's similar to this. Like McGroarty wants to come straight to the NHL and get a top 6 role, get playing time. You just simply can't. You can't operate that way. And I think that there is going to be a point in this offseason. I'm sorry we're going really in depth with this, but there's going to be a point this offseason where McGroarty's and his camp is like, we don't have a choice. I think that like he's acting really entitled. I honestly think the Jets do keep him. Actually, even though we just went into a McGroarty loophole or like McGroarty hole, I think that they will keep Ehlers too. I think Arniel, was it Scott Arniel, the coach, said that he wanted to keep Ehlers around. I think that there's a chance that Ehlers stays too. I don't know what your thoughts on that is, Carter. I feel like he would have been traded by now if he was going to get traded, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think if he was going to get traded, it would have happened before the draft. We're 2 weeks past the draft. Yeah, we're 2 weeks past the draft, and I haven't heard too much on it. Like, there's all these mocks and everything of trades for Ehlers, but like, it's not gonna happen. Like, if it didn't, my whole thing was if it didn't happen before the draft, it wasn't happening. And it didn't happen before the draft, so I don't think it's happening. Now we could come back to this and look at this trade deadline. Jets are out of a playoff spot. Ehlers will probably get shipped. Yeah. I think it's gonna, because right now I think I'm looking at this as we're gonna be a fringe playoff team. Like, I'm not expecting anything higher than a 2 seed. That's our ceiling. We're not getting the 1. I doubt we'll get the 2. I'm looking for anything from that 3 to the second wild card. Anything in there, I will consider that as being we hit our mark.
They were the best team last year, and it's relatively the same roster.
Yeah, so we've lost a lot of defensemen. That's the only thing.
That's true. That's true. They did lose some defensemen.
But, yeah.
I think they'll be a playoff team. I had them like 5th in my way too early predictions, but I think they'll be a playoff team. That was just me being too high on Utah. Which, speaking of some Central Division teams, I do have few more questions here before we get into our final topic for here, one will probably be the biggest chunk. Do you think the Nashville Predators, I know we're circling back to them, but do you think the Nashville Predators can win a Stanley Cup with their team now? With signing Stamkos, with signing Marchessault, with signing Shea, do you think this team can win a Stanley Cup now? They were first-round exits last year, by the way.
They were first-round exits who massively exceeded expectations. I don't think no one saw. Everyone even had them upsetting Vancouver.
Yeah, I think I did.
I had it. I had it. You had it. Jack was the only one who didn't, and he was right, obviously. But
yeah,
they
were wild card 1, but they were like heavily. Like they were
wild card. Oh no, Dallas won the. Never mind. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I don't know. They could, but
I don't like see them as like a top team though.
I don't see them as a top team. I could see them going on some sort of run, and I think that their ceiling with this core could be Cup final. I don't know if Stanley Cup is. It could definitely happen. Don't get me wrong. They have they have some playoff performers on that team. Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, Roman Josi always seems to show out in the playoffs.
Saros was terrific in the
Forsberg, one of the best, one of the most underrated. Saros, one of the best goalies we've probably ever seen. Like, not that we've ever seen. Sorry, in the league, I meant to say.
I was gonna say, well, maybe me and you have seen, but not.
Not everybody. My bad. But they got it. They got a chance. I think every team has a chance, other than some teams that are pretty bad. But I think they did good.
I think it's there. I think there's a possibility. I don't know if they're like my number 1 team to go out and win a Stanley Cup, but I think they're definitely on the list. I don't know. The Vegas Golden Knights, they got a lot worse this year. Lost a lot of players. They lost Marchessault, they lost Martinez, they lost Thompson, they lost amongst others because of salary cap issues. So, Carter, this team won the Stanley Cup in 2023. Do you think they can win another cup with this team? First off, I hope not. That's all I'm gonna say.
I hope not too. Like, I'm looking.
No disrespect to Vegas fans, but
yeah, I agree. No, well, like a little disrespect, but like not a whole heck of a lot. Sorry, I'm just gonna look at their roster here. Oh my gosh!
Pull up Puckpedia. Jesus.
That's what I'm doing right now.
So,
here's the thing: their defense is really good. They have a great defensive core. I'm still looking at their forwards, and this forward core is still pretty gross. Like, they could use some help on that left side. Those left wingers are not. Barbashev as your left wing 1 is not what you want to see. But who knows? They'll move some guys around. Like, they'll probably move Stone. They'll probably run Eichel, Stone, and Olofsson, or they'll move Holtz up to the first line or something. But they have the pieces to do it, and I don't think you can ever count Vegas out. but I think you also got to look at. I don't know. They got a chance. You can't say anything because it's fucking Vegas. They'll figure out some goddamn loophole, and who knows? They're gonna have Leon Draisaitl by the end of the fucking season.
Hey, maybe. I'm not ruling it out.
I don't want to put that mojo out there though. Fuck.
True. I do like the ads of Olofsson and Holtz. They do have some potential. Olofsson and I think Holtz would like a new change of scenery. I like those ads, but there's no arguing they got worse. Like Marchessault leaving, Martinez leaving, Thompson, like the team got worse. It's without a doubt. I think Vegas will still be in it, but they're definitely not one of the top teams at this point. So, yeah, I'll go. My final question I have here for you, since we want to kind of go through this really fast because our next one's a big one. Do you think the Carolina Hurricanes will be worse next season? They lost a lot of guys. They did bring in some guys, but they still lost a good amount of guys. But do you think they will be better next year? Or will be worse next year, not better?
Ooh.
If you want me to tell you who they brought in Sean Walker.
I'm looking at it. I think they'll be. Because what did they finish this year? Were they the 2?
They were second in the Metro.
And they made it out of they lost second round, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I could see this team making it to the conference final. I really like this team. I think that first line is so nasty. Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis. Like their D pairing is nuts too. Like Slavin, Burns, like that's your number one pairing. That's unreal. Orlov, Sean Walker, that's pretty good too for a 2 pairing. And then Gossesbeer, probably someone who's been very disrespected kind of throughout his entire career, especially with how he kind of was treated in Philadelphia because we sent him away for nothing. And then, like,
yeah,
I don't know. I like their signings. Who's their? I'm trying to look at their. Oh, they have Anderson and Chekhov. Yeah, I think conference final. I think is achievable for this team. It sucks with the pieces that they lost because those are big parts of their team. But I think they rebuilt it very nicely.
Morgan Lucas is still on the team, and they still got to sign Steph Jarvis too.
Yeah, so, I'm trying to get the scoop on that.
There's a chance they trade Natchez. Oh yeah, you do see Jarvis from time to time at your job. That's pretty sick. Mm-hmm. All right, that's all I got. You have any questions for me?
You know what? I do.
Oh God, here we go.
How do you think the Sharks did in free agency?
The Sharks? They brought in Toffoli. I did say earlier that I thought they did a good job. They brought in Toffoli. Let me go look at who else they got in. They signed Celebrini. And they signed Will Smith and Dickinson the contracts. Listen, they're going to be bad next year. There's no denying that. But I love the future they're building. Like, the future they're building is just, like, absolutely, it's spectacular. Like, Colin Graff, Macklin Celebrini, Eklund, Smith, Sam Dickinson on the back end. Like, that team is terrific. They didn't bring in a lot of free agents, though, from what I'm seeing. They did bring in Jake Wallman. That was a trade before free agency. They brought in Tyler Toffoli, who I think is like the best player on the team now at this point. They brought in Alexander Weinberg. They traded for Barclay Goodrow. I think they will be better next year. Do I think they'll be out of last place? Maybe. Probably not.
Out of last place? Yes.
Maybe. Well, they'll definitely be bottom 5 still, but they do have a much better team than they had in previous years. And seeing Celebrini come over, is Will Smith coming over? I'm not 100. Yeah, Will Smith.
I don't know. I think he signed his ELC because he's on their.
He did, but I don't know if he's like coming back or coming over now. But
yeah, well, he has to. He can't go back to college.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because once he signs, he can't go back.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, he's definitely coming over. I think that overall, the team has a really bright future. I think they did a good job. Any other questions for me, Carter?
No, I really don't.
All right, then we will transition over to our meat and potatoes, probably, of this video. We are going to tier rank, or I guess grade, every single team's offseason. Let's go. So today, the NordCast crew, or just me and Carter, are going to be tier ranking each team's NHL offseason so far. So Obviously, free agency is not over yet, according to uh, free agency and the NHL. But 98% of the moves that are going to happen have already happened. If there's something else that happens after this, maybe we'll do this again, but probably not. So we're going to be grading each team's offseason based off of 5 columns: A, B, C, D, and F. So basically, just regular school grades. So we got the Anaheim Ducks here to start off. The Ducks didn't do too much. They obviously didn't really re-sign or sign anybody of note. And they also drafted Beckett Seneca and Stan Solberg in the first round of the draft. So Carter, would you say I'm thinking C. I think C's an average one for those who didn't do any moves. I think that's a right spot to put teams. What do you think?
Yeah, I think without the draft, I think I'd put them in D. But I really like Beckett's Seneca, whichever one, however you pronounce it. And Stan Solberg is he's a great player too. So I think they're a good baseline. You know, I
Yeah.
think I think giving it them they're kind of good draft picks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Boston Bruins, they selected Dean Latorno. I'm a big fan of that. They also signed Elias Lindholm, Nikita Zadorov, amongst others. I'm trying to think who else they signed. They also made the Linus Olmark trade, which didn't look too great in their mark, but they did draft Latorno. So Carter, where are we putting Boston here? I think I'm going in the B column, B for Boston.
Yeah, I don't mind the moves they made. Yeah, they made some great signings. Obviously, they don't really have much draft capital, so it's kind of hard. But it's kind of hard for them to make too many draft day decisions. So yeah, I like that.
All right, B for Boston. Buffalo. Oh my God, what did Buffalo do? I, I don't even know. Hang on a
They,
second,
they
Carter.
traded so they traded Matthew Savoy. Uh,
Yes, they did do that. That looks like a flop. Um, that's
I really don't like that move one bit for Buffalo. I think that's a great move for Edmonton. When we get to them. Um, that who did they draft?
they
Um,
signed. They drafted Consta Hellenius. They signed Jason
oh,
Huber, Sam Lafferty, Abe Kubel. They signed James Reimer. I don't know. I think it'd be a C. Does the Savoy trade move that down to a D though?
I wouldn't. So I think without the Savoy trade, I think I'd put them at a B, but with the Savoy trade, I'd move them down to a C.
You think so? Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I think
Because
they'd be a low C though. They wouldn't be a pretty low C.
because I really like that Consta pick.
Yeah, I like the Hellenius pick too. He did drop in a steal. The Calgary Flames, they were active. They had a really good draft. They drafted Peric. They drafted um who else did they draft? Peric, Matvey Greedon. Who else did I think that's it. They drafted a couple other guys later in the rounds that looked great. Um so they made some solid picks. They signed a lot of guys too. They signed Anthony Mantha. They signed Devin Cooley. They signed Ryan Lomberg. Re-signed Sharon Govich. They made a few other moves too. I feel like they did a pretty decent job. I give them a B, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with B. Carolina Hurricanes. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of players. They did sign some guys. They signed Walker. They signed Gossespierre. They signed a few other guys too. I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I'd put them in B still, but they did lose a lot of guys. So what do you think?
So I think they lost some guys. I think which really does suck for them. But I think they made the right additions, especially to try and create some cap room for Seth Jarvis. It's going to come down to what happens with him as well as what happens with Marty Natchez. Um, that's really what's going to set them apart here. So I'd put them at C, and then depending on what happens with those signings, um, I think they'll have to. I think that could bump them up or move them down.
I think they'd be a high C, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Probably a high C. Chicago Blackhawks. They signed Bertuzzi. They signed Maroon. They brought back Teravainen. There's a few other moves they made. I did like who they drafted. I liked Vonneker. I liked the Levshinov pick. I think you go B here as well,
yeah.
honest. So we're getting a lot of A's and B's on this list here. Colorado Avalanche. What did Colorado do? I think they traded their first in the draft. They didn't do a ton. Um
They don't have like any cap room either.
they
So
signed Eric Brandstrom, Parker Kelly, a lot of their guys. They signed Calvin DeHaan.
I'd throw them in D.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Probably D. Columbus Blue Jackets, they signed Monahan. They drafted Lindstrom. What do you think?
I just can't believe they took Lindstrom over uh was it it's not Levshinov, right? No, Levshinov was a defenseman. Who is the forward? The Russian. Demidov, right?
Yeah.
I still can't believe that Demidov was on the board and they didn't take him.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think Lindstrom will still be good though.
I agree, but like I still think that Demidov was is better than Lindstrom. Now, I did have him going fourth, but I also did not think that Demidov would fall to five.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. Where do you think we should put him? I think
C
B.
maybe.
I feel like B would be fair. I think I like the Lidstrom pick. Demidov at five's a steal, but I like the Lidstrom pick and I like the Monahan signing.
Yeah, I guess because I guess if we're kind of looking at um Anaheim as a baseline, they did have a Monahan signing too. So yeah, I'd throw him B, but like a lower B in my opinion.
Yeah. Dallas Stars. What did Dallas do?
Re-signed Duchesne, which I think is really good.
Yeah, they re-signed Duchesne. They brought in Matt Dumba. They brought in Colin Blackwell, Kyle Capobianco. They brought in Casey DeSmith as a backup. I would say high C, maybe low B.
I'd throw him C.
Yeah, I think I'd go C as well. Detroit, I think Detroit's a D. Maybe even I don't know about an F, but I think Detroit's a D. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I not a whole heck of a lot.
Okay. All right, Oilers. I think this is our first A. I love what the Oilers did. They signed Skinner to a great deal. They brought in Matt Savoie for basically McLeod. They also signed Brown. They re-signed Yanmark. They brought in Arvidsson for a good deal. Brought in Skinner for a good deal. I think this is an A.
I agree. I agree. I will say I was kind of questioning their well, I mean, it doesn't really affect me that much because I don't really care. I'm really happy, but I'm shocked that they traded their first in this upcoming in the 2025 draft for literally the last first round pick. Like, because
Yeah,
they're
that was
pretty
a
much
little weird.
they're pretty much banking on them being like we're winning the cup next year and like this will be pretty much the exact same pick.
I think it's top 10 protected, but it's still like,
I think it's lottery.
oh, is it? Is it really?
I have no idea. I can't remember the exact
It might be top
spec.
16. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
They'll be a playoff team next year, regardless. Florida. Florida re-signed Reinhardt. They re-signed Kulikov. They'd lost a lot of guys, but really it wasn't really that big of a deal, the guys they lost. I think just for them winning a cup, you give them a B plus, maybe even an A. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'd move him up to an A. I really like that Ryan Hart deal. Like he could have got 10 mil elsewhere, but you were able to talk him into staying. I'm assuming because right after winning a cup, I think you don't win a cup there. I don't think Ryan Hart's staying for that much. I think if he does stay, it's going to be 9.25 or 9.95 somewhere in there. So
Yeah, I'm looking at it. They didn't sign anyone, so I think a B is fair.
yeah,
Los Angeles Kings, they signed Edmondson, they signed Fogel. The both those deals were kind of overpays though. What else did they do?
they ship PLD off for Kemper.
That I think could be a good deal. That I think could go well for them.
Yeah, I agree, but I still cannot believe that they gave up on him after.
Yeah, I would go with what do you think?
I'd go.
B or C?
I- I'd
Or
go C.
C or D? C or D is what I meant, not B or C. Minnesota Wild, they brought in Trennan on an overpay. It's about all I can. They drafted Bouillon. That was good. That's about all I can think of though.
I'd go B.
Yeah, I think I go B as well. I'm not really entirely sure who else they signed. My memory's not great at this hour. They signed
So
Chisholm. They re-signed Middleton. Yeah, I think Trenton was really the only big signing they made. Yeah, I think they had a lot of good. They signed a lot, or they drafted a lot of good guys too. They brought Boyum. They brought Kiwi Haru, who was projected to be a high pick. Montreal, I think you go A. They had a great draft. They've done awesome. They have more firsts coming. I think you give them an A. I think they're one of the teams that goes up an A. Even though they didn't do a lot in the free agency, I think they were still spectacular. New
yeah,
Jersey, I think, or New Jersey, Nashville, I think you give them an A as well.
yeah, back to back A's. That's not even a question. We don't even have to discuss it.
No, Stamkos, Marshall Salt, Shea, we talked about earlier in the episode, just terrific. New Jersey,
Good trade on the Markstrom deal. I don't
I like the
like
Pesci
that.
signing.
I don't know why they traded Holtz though.
Yeah, but I feel like they're trying to make room for, I guess, because Holtz maybe wanted out. I think that was it. I think that was the reason why. But it wasn't like they gave up a lot for him though, or they traded or wait,
I don't think they
they
got
got
enough in return for Alexander
Pro.
Holtz. I don't know. I really don't like that Holtz deal a lot, and that's really like keeping me down low on them. Because I like the Markstrom deal, but I hate that Holtz deal. So I'll let you take this one because if it was up to me, I'd throw them in D, but that's just with me because I love Alexander Holtz. I think he's a great player.
I think it's a B minus. I think it's a I honestly I think it's a B. I think that the Markstrom deal is great. I like the Pesci signing. The only bad thing was the Holtz
Oh,
deal.
I forgot about Pesci. Yeah, you're right.
I think they're a B,
Yeah,
100%.
I would have thrown him in C, but I can understand your thing on B.
Islanders signed Duclair, drafted Iserman. I think that they're B. They
I'd say C.
Yeah, but they'd be a high C though. They really couldn't do a lot. So it's not like
They don't have a lot of cap room really
yeah.
any.
But I do like what they did. I do like the moves they made. I like the Duclair. I think that that's perfect. He's a great cap. I also think too that the Iserman could be a steal. So honestly, I like the moves. The Rangers, they really couldn't do much either. I think we also put the Rangers in C. Let me look at what the Rangers did. They did draft EJ Emery. I thought that was a good move.
Yeah.
Um, they got Riley Smith from Pittsburgh. They got rid of Goudreau. Honestly, maybe a B
Yeah.
because they made some good moves. I don't think that. Yeah, I think a B. Honestly, Ottawa got Olmark. They drafted Yakimchuk. They got Amadio. They got Perron. I think they did something. They hired Travis Green as their head coach. That's what we're forgetting about too. We forgot some of these guys hired coaches. Ottawa, I would go B.
Yeah. I agree. B. Great. I like that Olmark trade a lot. They really didn't give up too much for him.
Yeah, they did a good job. Philadelphia, I think, is a C.
The Chikrin deal, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I think their hands were tied with Chikrin.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll let you stick with that. If
I'll
their
let
hands
you,
weren't tied and that's what they got, I think I'd move them to a C because that was a steal for
that's true.
Washington.
That's true. I'll let you go. I'll let you take the wheels with Philly here.
Are
Even
we
though,
counting ELCs being signed?
yes, I
A
guess.
plot.
Ah, come on,
No, I'm
come
kidding.
on.
I'm kidding. They really didn't do much in free agency, so it's hard to really say. I like the fact that they were able to finally get Mitchkov because you put all those he's not coming to the NHL rumors to bed. I'd go B maybe because I really like the guys that they re-signed. They re-signed a lot of their young guys. Um, but yeah, they still
I think,
gotta address
yeah,
they,
I'd go
they
B.
gotta they gotta address Travis Konechny soon, whether he's staying or whether he's going. Um, yeah, I don't know. They got some things they got to address throughout the season, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's something we'll talk about in a future episode. Travis Konechny. That is something I do want to discuss. Pittsburgh Penguins. They re-signed Nedeljkovic. They got Kevin Hayes. Traded away Ryan Smith, or Ryan Smith, Riley Smith. Ryan Smith's the owner of the Utah Hockey Club. Um, what else? I think that's about it. I'd say Pittsburgh is a solid C, but I'm gonna be forgetting something here. Let me go look at their moves real quick. They brought in Aho and not the Aho from Carolina. They brought in Matt Grzelcyk. I like that. They brought in Anthony Beauvillier. Not not terrible, but I don't think that gets them to a B. I think they're still a C, but I think they're a higher C than others.
Yeah,
Yeah. San Jose, I think you go A. I think they nailed it out of the park with the draft picks, nailed it out of the park with the free agency. I think they're an A.
yeah, and they got Will Smith to sign his
Yeah.
ELC, which is huge because a lot of people are saying he's staying in BC for another year.
So they have a bright future ahead. Seattle. Seattle, I think. What do you think?
You could go B, you could also go C.
I think I'm going C. I think I want to go C for Seattle. I like the Montour, but I hate the also they drafted Catton. Hmm. I think they're still
Oh, with I forgot about Berkeley.
I don't know. What do you think?
High C.
Yeah, I think they're a high C. I put them above Pittsburgh. They're a high C. Um put them above New York too. St. Louis. St.
They
Louis
did much
drafted
there.
Adam Juracek. They signed Ryan Sutter today. I can't tell you what else they did though. That's about it.
What is it?
Hang
I'm
on.
like,
Hang on, let me go look. They also I know we're not professional at this at all. I apologize. They got Radek Faxa from the Stars. They signed Pierre Oliver Joseph. They signed Kapanen. I don't know. They didn't do a ton.
they
I
have they have salary room too. I don't know why they didn't try and attack it.
I don't know. What do you think? C or D is where I'm at right now.
I'd go D
Yeah, I think I go D too.
because there's still so many holes on this roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. Tampa. Tampa got Gensel. They lost Stamkos though. They re-signed Hedman to an extension. I feel like Stamkos leaving and Gensel coming in, does that subtract one another? Like
I'd
cross
I'd
out
say that
one
I'd
another?
say that kind of cancels out.
I don't
Um,
know though, because Stamkos is your best player but they did get younger though with Gensel. Who else did they?
they get younger, they get them for longer because I don't think Stamkos was signing that long of a contract. I think 3-4 years was probably what he was probably looking after. He got 3 with Nashville, so um, I don't know. I think Gensel's probably a little bit better because he's younger and you have him for longer. So maybe give the slight edge to them. The Sergachev deal, they kind of had to. They had to make salary cap room, and they got a great return actually for him. Connor Geeky is going to be really solid in Tampa Bay. I'd move him. I don't know. What do you I'm thinking B maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking low B though. I'd put him in low B. Toronto.
Good
Toronto.
signings. They really worked on their back end this year, which was their biggest issue.
I think they're a C. I don't like the OEL. I think it's an overpay. And yes, the Tanev is good. The Stolars is solid, but they said they were going to make big moves. Tanev is not a big move. Neither is Stolars, although he's a NordCast legend. Neither is OEL. Neither is Hakanpää, who might not even play. I think they're a C.
Oh,
People won't like
you know
that.
what? I'll side with you on this one, mainly because we were promised a move of the big four and we never got it.
Yeah, I think I yeah, I'm going C. Utah. Now we're using the Arizona logo for Utah, but they're Utah. So what do you think? I think Utah made some good moves. They got Sergachev. They drafted TJ Ginla. They got Marino, who's a good top four defenseman. I think you go high B, low
I
A, maybe.
I I was gonna say I'd either go high A where they're just kind of tickling A, or you throw them in A.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say high B. I'd say high B.
Yeah, I think they're a high B team. Yeah, Vancouver. Vancouver lost a lot. They brought in DeBrusk. About it. That's about all I can remember from them. They traded their first to Calgary, so they didn't get it. They didn't get a first round draft choice.
Yeah, good
Um,
good signings though.
yeah, they signed some good guys. I'm looking at their signings real quick here. I know they brought in DeBrusk, Vincent Desharnais, Danton Heinen. Um, what do you think? What do you think? I think they're either B or C. We have a lot of B's though.
I'd throw them in C.
Yeah, I think I'd throw them in C. Vegas. Vegas, I think we might go D here
Yeah,
because they lost a lot of guys. Yes, they got guys back, but they lost a lot of guys.
I
And
I I agree. They're also 3 mil over in salary cap. They gotta find something to dump.
yeah. All right, we're down to the last two teams here. We have the Washington Capitals. Carter, I'll let you go first. Chikrin deal, Mangiapane deal. They got Dubois. What are we thinking here for Washington? I'm in the A
They're
or B range, to be honest.
A B range.
Yeah. What are you?
So my thing, I, my thing is the fact they are 14 million over in salary.
That's true. I think they'll move. They'll have to move someone.
So they'll have to. Well, actually, I guess Backstrom will go on LTIR. That'll clear it up, and then they'll be about 5 mil over.
I think Oshie
Um,
might go too.
really,
He might retire, maybe.
he's
But
got 1 year left. I don't think you want to go out with 1 year left on your deal. He's finishing it out. Who are we
but he
kidding?
he has had injury problems. So
I think they're kind of banking on Backstrom and Oshie being done after this year. So it's going to depend on that because if not, if they stay, then they had a B plus A off season. If Oshie doesn't, we're going to be looking at this and being like, what the fuck did Washington do bringing in an $8 million guy when they don't have the salary cap?
Dubois is a risk.
He is.
I
He's a
think
big risk.
he's a
He's a
big
risk
risk.
that's either gonna pay the fuck off or you just fucked yourself.
He went from a good player to a not so great year in LA. So I don't know. I don't know. I think
And I
you're
left Winnipeg, buddy.
I think you put them in B, high B right now.
I'd go middle B.
Argue A. It doesn't really matter, but you could go B, maybe. Yeah, I think I go B for Washington. Winnipeg Jets, the final team on this list. I'll let Carter take the wheel here.
The first F on the board.
You think so?
No. Uh I don't know. I'd go D.
Yeah, they did too much.
This team has some holes that they had to fill, and they really didn't. We lost defensemen, yeah, and we didn't really add much. We signed Logan Stanley. That should be an F right there. Um, sorry, this podcast has a long history of hating on Logan Stanley, but
Yeah, it's a known thing on this pod. But yeah,
I'd put them in D.
I think they're a D. I wasn't a huge fan of the moves they made. They didn't make a lot as is. I like the Gustafson signing. The Stanley one's ridiculous. You're paying him more than $1 million. That's insane. You're paying him more than league minimum is insane. But yeah. So that is our off-season tier rankings. We hope you enjoyed. If you are first watching this, make sure to follow the podcast and subscribe down below. We would greatly appreciate it. And that will conclude episode number 62 of the NordCast. Thank you all for watching or listening. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it on the YouTube end of things. If you are listening on the podcast end of things, give us a good review. Tell your friends. If you want to follow the Instagram, follow at NordCast_. If you want to follow the TikTok, follow at NordCast. And a special announcement here. I think the guys forgot to mention it, but we do have a Twitter account now. Follow at NordCast_. So that is a new platform in the NordCast community. So like, subscribe, listen, follow the social medias. That's about all we have to say. But thank you all for watching. Carter, you have any last words?
No.
No, no. He hesitated. But all right. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.